I feel like I should be able to break 30 seconds on this.
Yeah.
I mean, with the honey, I mean, just it being like 2 pounds lighter. $29.06.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's what's up.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna put this somewhere. If I put it here, is it gonna?
A few moments later.
This was designed specifically to replace the MP5 SD. Now it never won any major contracts and never made it to the commercial market until years later. Because I think how most people came into contact with this the first time was like FPS Russia.
This is the Honeybadger. It's made by Advanced Armament Corporation. Those new explosives are fucking ridiculous.
I mean, this was the AAC Honeybadger, and then he leaves AAC, goes to SIG, goes to Remington. All this stuff happens in the meantime, but managed to kind of keep everything intact for him to be able to build this eventually, and then courtesy of like FPS Russia and a couple other guys, and then obviously Kevin managing to get it into Call of Duty, there's enough of a market to actually bring it out. But it sat dormant for years, and not much has changed either.
Yeah.
Versus the original. The can is significantly longer than the barrel. The can is between like 8 1/4 and 8 1/2 inches long.
Yeah.
So it's, I mean, barrel versus can, right? Like the barrel stops here. That's your gas block. That's your barrel end. Most of what you are looking at when you look at a Honeybadger, at least an SD, is can.
Well, here I was gonna.
Oh yeah,
Can comparison.
can to can.
Sandman versus the.
And this is the SD can specifically. So unless you get an SD, you can't just go out and buy this can.
Yeah.
And it's not the quietest can they make. Like, but if you want something that's going to fit real clean, I mean, that does it.
How much do these? Oh my God.
Well, it's Thai. It's 100% titanium.
Oh my God. this is like a toy.
It is.
What is this?
Yeah. I love, like...
Yeah, this could, I mean, it's chemo. Like, you can feel all the weight is on the back.
Yes.
Of that.
Yes.
That is...
And it's direct thread. So whereas
ridiculously
the
heavy.
other Honeybadgers have a muzzle device that, you know, the can...
Oh, this isn't the taper? Whatever.
So it is taper.
Okay.
But it's direct taper
Oh, to the
to
barrel.
the barrel. There is no muzzle device.
Yeah, so it's all...
This is the muzzle
yeah.
device. People have asked me like, oh, but aren't you going to shoot supers? Not really. Like,
Yeah.
You know, maybe if I take it hunting at some point, but like I also have other guns that are more suited to that.
Yeah, exactly. Because your use case for the Honeybadger is what, home defense primarily?
Home defense, and it's stupid fun.
Yeah.
Like it's so much fun. Everybody that shot it so far has said a couple of things. One, they usually say something like, oh, it feels like a BB gun.
Right.
Or a paintball gun or something like that. Two, will say like, I am ruined for anything else because
Right.
it shoots so soft. Granted, with subsonics. Now you shoot supers through it, it's a little harsher, but like, it's kind of it's a sweetheart to shoot. I mean, it's super light. This buffer system, as much as it does add some complication versus a normal buffer, and boy howdy does it. It makes for a very soft shooting gun.
Right.
And this is not coming from the perspective of somebody that has shot an AR. I've built close to a dozen now probably.
Mm-hmm.
I've owned more than that. This is certainly not a first, second, third gun, but it is definitely something special.
For people that are like kind of wondering why you would want to get a Honeybadger over a SIG MCX suppressed, you know, I mean, the biggest kind of, I think, discussion there is, do you care about weight, and then you care about DI versus piston.
Yep.
And, you know, I mean, in my brain, like, if you want a SIG, like, this is more, I guess, duty-oriented.
Yes.
And you can shoot supers out of it a little bit better. Yep. But if you're, like, specific focused. I want, you know, a home defense gun that is exceptionally lightweight.
Yep.
You know, and it's going to run, and you're fine with it running subs.
Yep.
You know, all day. You can run it with supers, but then it's like it gets wildly hot from what I remember.
It gets insanely hot. You have to know that going into it. Like, and I'm not saying that everybody should go out and buy the SD either. There's different configurations for this gun. The regular pistol and rifle, you know, they got a 6-inch handguard. It's half the length of this. For most people, that's probably better. It does also allow you to compact, you know, like if you were going to make it a backpack gun, which I think it's a great thing for that. If you're going to make it a backpack gun, probably get the normal one, because then you can just take the can off of it. And this
it's actually,
this fits into a lot of places that, you know, this plus the can doesn't. This probably rests between Q's Trash Panda and their Thunder Chicken. So they're compact 300 black 7.62 suppressor and their full-size one. It's about the length of a Thunder Chicken, but it's much smaller, and the way you get suppression out of one of these is big volume. And this has a little less because it's designed to fit under that handguard, which it barely does, which is why it gets so freaking hot. So
and so, I mean, I will say, that's not to say that this has bad noise suppression.
No,
this
it's
noise
fine.
suppression is, I think, significantly better than the Sandman. And, you know, that hurts me to say a little bit because I put a lot of money into this. But however it's designed, engineering-wise, this is significantly quieter with subs. You know, shooting subs out of this is still totally fine, but it's just significantly quieter out of the Honeybadger. And so that's where, you know, value proposition, I think, you know, some people will say, oh, well, you know, the SIG is significantly cheaper. And it's like, well, hang on, like, not really, because the MCX stock is going to be, I think, around 2K. I think now, I mean, I paid 2K for it. I think now you can get them a little cheaper. But around, just call it $2,000, and then the Sandman is $800.
8 and change.
So then you throw that on, and then I guess it does come with the the chemo. But if you want to get it integrally suppressed, you got to buy a different handguard. And this is Midwest Industries, you know, suppressor handguard, so it, you know, slots nicely underneath. That's $150, $200. So it's around, you know, 3K. So this is, you know, $600 more, but it weighs half. Like, I mean, it's literally, I mean, I weighed myself with this build. You know, granted, I have a flashlight on it and a Romeo 8T.
Foregrip.
You know, and a foregrip, but like, this was 9.8 pounds. And so maybe you knock a pound off of here, you know, with the flashlight. I mean, the sights, like, we're talking ounces. It's not that different, but you know, this is 8.5 to 9 pounds probably without the light. And this is, you said 5.4,
It is like
5.5?
5.4, maybe 5.6 with the can from the factory.
Yeah.
And I'll fully admit, like, if I were going to beat the living daylights out of it, there's a pretty good case to be made for this. Like, absolutely. And there's other things, like, yes, this suppressor handguard, which is, I mean, Midwest makes amazing stuff. You can actually use this, okay? I have to have a suppressor wrap on this. Especially if you shoot supers and you shoot fast, you will burn the living daylights out of your fingers. It will happen very, very fast. With this, we were running rounds through this thing, like,
nonstop with
like,
supers.
Yeah, and you can feel the heat coming off of it, but there's no like, oh my gosh, I'm going to burn my hand. This, very quickly, after a couple of like fast mags, uncomfortable, after 3 or 4 mags, don't touch it.
Well, and you can tell, I mean, I don't know if this is going to work for the camera shot, but I mean, there is basically
There's no room. There's no room.
There's absolutely no room between this. I mean, like, look how tight that fit is. I mean, there's
It's
nothing
millimeters.
between. I mean,
it's not even a millimeter.
It's wild how, like, I mean, that's so back to the price point. That's what you're paying for. Like, you're getting this, like, it's specifically engineered to do one thing. That's shoot 300 blackout subs. Like, don't buy a Honeybadger SD and be like, oh, it has heat problems because you're shooting supers.
You
It's
should
like,
have already known
like,
that. You should have already
you signed up for
known
the
that.
wrong thing, dude. Like, it just that's part of the design, and it does it exceptionally well. Kind of another thing to talk about is, I think, the Q trigger on this, which is it's pretty stupid how good that trigger is. And yeah, I mean, that's again, like, it's more expensive, but you're getting the Q trigger. You can upgrade the MCX trigger easily.
Yeah, throw a Geisley in it, you'll be happy.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
but it's like I don't really. and that's where it's like, okay, is that aiding the Honeybadger in value? And I'm like, I mean, I guess it is a nicer trigger. That I don't think the MCX trigger's necessarily
Not bad, no.
Because I mean, but you're shooting 300 blackout. You really need a good trigger when you're shooting exceptionally long range.
Yes.
And so 300 blackout's like a sub 200 yard bullet.
Yeah,
so like,
at past 200 yards, the sub's falling out of the sky.
yeah, and it's just like, okay, so like, oh, like you can have, you know, sub MOA accuracy at 1,000 yards. Well, 300 blackout is going to drop after 200 meters anyways. So like,
not going to matter.
whatever. It doesn't, yeah.
That being said, you know, today, like the groups this thing was shooting, I mean, it so surpasses mil-spec standards. It's not even funny. I mean, another thing to talk about would probably be the twist of the barrels. What are we looking at on the Virtus?
Yeah, the Virtus is, I think that's 1 in 7.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if it's faster twist just because of Kevin's involvement. That's something he preaches religiously with subsonics. Is like fast twist barrel. If you want it to put tight groups downrange past 50 yards, you kind of need it to be spinning real quick.
And we were shooting some supers out of the Honeybadger.
Some. Yeah.
But we also were not doing any really long range shooting. I mean, at least
no precision work whatsoever.
Yeah, it was like just let's run and gun and have some fun with it. So on the build quality of it, you know, what's your take on, you know, there's some play between the upper and lower. Like, what do you think about that?
So here's the deal. Like my nice rifle up to this point was a Noveski N4. The fit upper to lower on that gun was tighter, but also it had one of those little adjustable, you know, grub screws coming out of the lower that kind of allowed you to tighten that up. This, you know, it's got rock to it. I've seen more.
Here, if you want to give it a little.
Yeah, like it's there. That's mil spec. I've seen worse. I've seen a heck of a lot better. I've seen better from Aero Precision, etc. If upper and lower play is something that you hang up on, this might not be for you. Being said, whatever. It doesn't really tick me off.
It doesn't
in the real
matter.
world.
Upper and lower play is
just
irrelevant.
Doesn't. As far as build quality goes, there's good and bad things to be said. So, for instance, when you first get a Honeybadger, this tolerance right here, like this is real stiff and kind of scratchy, and you start to get concerned, like, how is this going to wear in? After about 20, 30, that was fun. After about 20, 30 times yanking it in and out on a range day, it kind of just wears in, and it's fine. If you want to be mean to the gun, you can just yank on this, and it'll open right up. I don't do that. But that was tight. Another thing to note, and this is how you know we are not sponsored by anybody. When I got this at first, which, you know, first time really shooting it was on the range day, we had issues with the bolt not wanting to go all the way into battery. It got stuck, you know, I don't know, a quarter of an inch back. Now, that's something I have seen on ARs before. An Aero Precision build that I did recently had that issue. It seemed to mainly be when you had a 20 round mag filled to 20 or a 30 round mag filled to 30. So it was that first round feeding off of a fresh magazine. My guess would be that the new BCG that Q has in this, I think it's got really tight tolerances. And the reason I think that is because they literally called it beyond mil spec. I think it is designed to interface so tightly, and unfortunately, it causes some issues that wouldn't otherwise be there. But we just kept running it, and eventually those problems ceased. For reference, if anybody else runs into this, we were running into it not wanting to close past about that point, which also happens to be where the charging handle kind of latches, and you can see like even now it closes, but that was an issue we ran into. Another thing that kind of concerned me just a touch was that the fit of the suppressor into the handguard was kind of off. It kind of tends to sit I forget if it's to the left or to the right, but when it's completely screwed in, it never sits quite completely center.
Oh, like within the handguard?
Within the handguard, it's actually like this noticeable thing. Once it's tightened down, it sits, right now it's sitting back to the left. So like from the top, it's sitting back over this way a little bit. I don't think there's any consequence to that. I've not heard a baffle strike yet, but just something that, right off the bat, you buy a gun for $3,600 and you're kind of like, a little weird. But again, this is how you know we're not sponsored. But
well, and you're getting, I think you said when you were shooting the supers, you were getting some.
Oh yeah. Oh god.
What was the trigger snap? Or
so
whatever?
yeah, so we didn't adjust the gas on this. We just ran some supers through it and whatever. And I was running without gloves, and shooting pretty quick. And when the bolt came back forward, it was slamming the trigger forward into my finger. I'm not going to say it was painful, but you noticed it. Mm-hmm. It was almost like this little sting. I was like, whoa. And that's probably just because it's a stupid light trigger. Mm-hmm. I don't know. They're rating it like 2.5 pounds or something like that, and I believe it. But the downside of it is it comes back like with a vengeance. You're like, oh, hello there.
but and then it's like, but again, like, don't run supers through it. Like,
don't run supers. Yeah, don't run supers
have that
through
problem
it.
with subs.
Yeah, and if you're gonna run a bunch of supers through it, like gas it correctly.
Yeah.
Like go ahead. It's got a little hole right here in the handguard where you stick an Allen key in and you can adjust it real quick. Mm-hmm. It comes with the Allen keys. That is one thing I'll say I'm a little disappointed with on this gun. You spend $3,600 on a gun. They send you 2 Allen keys. They send you a barrel flag. And they send you a 30-round PMAG. That's it. They make a tool specifically for this gun that is designed to work with, I forget, a 1/4-inch drive socket or whatever. It's a $50 tool. It tightens up, your barrel nut. There's a little bolt back here. Some other stuff. Oh yeah, and the turnbuckle on the bottom of the handguard, which is kind of an interesting way to tighten down a handguard, but that's another subject for another day. They make this tool. It's $50. It is, dude. It's a piece of stainless steel. It does not need to be $50.
But it's by Q.
It is Q. It's Q, Mr. Bond. So they make you pay for that. And I'm like, man, because I bought the one. This is the flagship. Kevin's now calling it the legacy gun because this is the SD model, whatever. It was the original design. Mm-hmm. They do not give you that tool. So I had to go actually buy that. First world problems.
So comparing the Honeybadger to the Virtus over here. Mm-hmm. This is so it's kind of talking on the Virtus then to quickly do a dive on that. The pros I think of the Virtus are the piston driven design. It's a little easier to disassemble. You don't have the whole buffer tube and
yes.
The spring and all that. I mean you just it just all pulls out kind of in the upper portion here. And the problem with that though is the weight. Like the Honeybadger is pretty well balanced. Yeah. I think the Virtus, it's very like nose heavy, just because most of the weight is like kind of here, and then I have the suppressor, which is the Sandman with the chemo is already weighing it down, and then I have the flashlight, so it's very just like nose heavy, which I think does help with recoil, but you're just like. It's like a lever that it's got all the weight on the far end of the gun. So when you're positioning it, it's very hard to move target to target. So
you're aware of it.
Yeah, you notice it a lot, and the only thing you want to be noticing is your dot flashing in your eyes as you pull the trigger. So there's that, and then and then there's the reason to get the Virtus over the Honeybadger. I think we kind of talked about the hypothetical reliability, end of the world. Maybe this runs better. I think there's certainly a little more durable parts in here because it's supposed to be a heavier gun. Lightness was not the concern of SIG when they built this, and running a fast gun and an efficient gun I think was Q's mantra here. And running, when we were running the course for time, and it was like, whatever. We just I literally had ChatGPT make a course for us, which is this, a meme of itself. And I think I'll probably make another video on that whole process.
That needs to be a whole video.
Yeah. What ChatGPT thinks is a USPSA course is hilarious. But In any case, I did get the best time with the Honeybadger, and it's like, well, yeah, I'm running a gun that's literally 3 pounds heavier or lighter, and 50% lighter almost, and where the weight is in the gun is better. So so it definitely helps, and that's not to dog the Virtus. It's just something that I noticed. The Virtus is an exceptional gun. I think
smooth shooting. It's great.
And I think my favorite part of that range day was when the bolt wasn't closing all the way.
Yeah.
Oh wait,
there is no forward assist. No. Yeah. Again.
Nothing. Well, why don't you use the forward assist?
That's always a debate of like, well, it's like, well, if you had a forward assist, this wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah,
so,
you don't even get a dust cover. Like
yeah, exactly. So
everything's gone.
In my brain, the way that this kind of slots in is like you have rugged, kind of more military use to home defense, and so the Q kind of slots in closer to the more civilian home defense user. So then I think beyond that, even more home defense than that, I think is kind of this other gun, which we'll pull out, which is the Angstat Arms integrally suppressed 9mm PCC.
Oh yeah.
And so this is pretty cool. I want to say it's not a competitor to the Honeybadger directly, but if you're in the market for an integrally suppressed AR style rifle, then I think that this is a good option for you. This gun takes, Glock magazine. So that's obviously the greatest thing that anyone could ever say about any gun ever.
Thank you, Reddit.
Which is, so yes, it takes Glock mags, but more importantly, it is a 9mm. So it's extremely cheap to shoot. I mean, 9mm right now, like, I think you can get it under 25 cents a round
easily
with tax and shipping and all that nonsense. Yeah. And then we've got the Honeybadger, the SDs. I mean, we just bought some from Palmetto State, right?
Yep.
For 65
cents a round.
I guess it was like close to like 70 after shipping or something, right?
Yeah, so it's like 70. But yeah, like the irony of the whole thing here though is like it's an integrally suppressed 9mm. This is just an AR version of an MP5 SD.
Yeah.
We're back to kind of that same comparison.
Yeah.
And like I got to shoot this a little bit the other day, like super pleasant, super fun. And yeah, if you just want to just go to the range and dump rounds and at the same time have a very effective home defense weapon, that's
right.
it. It's
yeah.
great.
And so the reason, this is a great gun, I will say suppression wise, I think it might be on par with the Honeybadger shooting subs.
Oh yeah.
But then it's like, okay, that speaks volumes to how well the Honeybadger suppresses, because this is shooting 9mm.
Yep.
And the reason this does not suppress, honestly, that well, for as good as you would think, because this suppressor is the entire length of this handguard. I'm not going to try to take it off because it's kind of a pain. But it's literally, it's a full-length barrel. I don't remember. I think it's 10 inches.
It looks
and
like
it has
10.
Yeah, and it has ports. I don't remember how many ports. It has I think 10 ports on each kind of quadrant of the barrel, going all the way around it, and so which is the same design as the MP5 SD, and then there's just a barrel shroud that goes over it, and so the gas kind of bleeds out into that can. So there's really no baffle is kind of the point. Like it's just a gigantic ported barrel with a barrel shroud over it, which unfortunately still qualifies it as a suppressor. It does do a good job of suppressing, even with no baffles.
Still a two-stamp gun. Gosh
So
darn it.
good thing with this is the build quality on it is pretty wild. This comes. So I bought just the Angstat Arms Vanquish upper, and then I slapped it on my Arrow lower over here. This is an EPC 9 lower, and I have in the buffer system is the Maxim radial delayed blowback buffer tube, which is I think a necessity, because the Honeybadger is like engineered to work with a DI system. This is just straight blowback. So if you don't have the fancy buffer system in it, it's very snappy and kind of punches you, and you're like, I'm shooting 9mm. Why does this hurt so much? It's unfortunate that there's no physics to save it there. So that's where the maximum radial delay blowback system comes in. So then looking at this from a total price point, the Angstat Arms upper is I think around $1,000 or $1,200, something like that, and then the Arrow lower is only $300. Honestly, might be cheaper than that.
Right
And then-
now, you can probably get it cheaper.
yeah. And then the radial delay blowback system is $200, 150, 200 after tax, something like that. So you're looking at like $2K to get this setup. So if you're wanting a gun that's, for home defense, fun to shoot, but less destructive than, a 300 blackout cartridge, this is a good thing that comes in, almost half the price of the Honeybadger.
Yep.
But it's only 9mm versus the 300 blackout. So they basically do the same thing, but the Honeybadger's shooting a much faster, well, not faster, they're both subsonic, so
Much more aerodynamic.
much more
cartridge.
aerodynamic cartridge that this is going to go, 200 yards, 200 meters. This is going to be on the ground at 150,
Yep.
whereas that's still flying. The build quality of this is wild. I mean, there's
Yeah.
absolutely no flex between upper and
Nothing.
lower.
It's the tightest that it could be without being uncomfortable to disassemble. There's no like finish here that's like, oh my gosh, that's super pretty, but like the build quality is great. And I cannot say as I've found a better tolerance upper to lower. And they don't even like, this isn't a built, like this is a gun that was put together in a home. This is not, from the factory.
Cool, guys. So I think that's pretty much, all that we've got. Let us know in the comments section, what y'all think, if y'all have any insight on these, or if you have a better integrally suppressed option out there. I'd love to check out the comments, and then, possibly go pick something else up to go review and, take down range and make another video on it. So thanks, guys. Appreciate it.